Okay, so we are in Chapter 6, Problem 2. We're going to be doing activity-based costing, and it's on page 246 of the Jimbavo text for those who are playing at home. The first thing we have to do in activity-based costing is figure out our overhead rates. So because we're using activity bases, we're going to have 3 in this case. So they tell us a whole story. You can read that for yourself about why we think we should use activity-based costing. But I'm going to show you the mechanics of it. So the equation I've written out here is the basic equation. We're trying to find our cost pool. We're trying to find the overhead cost per 1 unit of the driver. So we're going to have 3 pools and 3 cost drivers. This is the other part of the calculation. So you take your total overhead cost pool and divide it by your cost driver. All right, so the first cost pool they tell us is that employee benefits and telecommunication costs are driven by headcount. So we're going to add those 2 overhead costs together. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and then plugging the numbers in. Employee benefits was $500,000 for all of the different products, right? We're using the estimated total overhead for each of these cost pools. So that's $500,000 for employee benefits, $200,000 for telecommunications. So I just realized I wrote the wrong number. It's $250,000 for the telecom. My apologies for those playing at home, but let's keep going forward so I don't have to redo this whole thing, right? So we've got 100 people in the stock group and 50 employees in the custom group. So adding that together, we'll have 150 headcount in total. So we're going to take our $750,000 and divide it by 150 people in our headcount to get a rate of $5,000 per person. So that's our first rate using activity-based costing. Our second rate, the story tells us, our second cost pool called rent. And we say that that's driven off of square feet. So it's all about how much space you're taking up in the building. So the rent is $750,000 for the year, and there are 10,000 square feet available. So we're going to allocate that to our different lines based on $75 per square foot. Okay. Moving on to our third cost pool, we have general administrative costs, and they are driven by relative sales dollars. So we're told that our general administrative costs will be $500,000 this upcoming period, and our total sales are estimated to be $7 million. Important thing is we're using the estimate, not the actual at this point. That will give us a rate of 7 cents per sales dollar. Okay, so now we have our rates. The next step is to figure out how much money we are going to make for each of our areas, our stock area and our custom stuffed animals. I'll call that custom. So the first thing, easy stuff, start with the low-hanging fruit. The sales for each we are given in the book. So it's $4 million for the stock company and $3 million for the custom stuffed animals group. And the direct costs are always the same because these are the costs actually generated from making the stock stuffed animals versus custom stuffed animals. So the stock stuffed animals are $1.5 million direct costs, and the custom take up $2.1 million in direct costs. But what we have to change is the allocated cost. So we need to use each of our new rates to allocate the overhead costs to these different departments. So for employee benefits and telecom, we said our rate was $5,000 per head count person. So stock has 100 people, so they get $500,000. And custom has 50 people, so they get $250,000. So remember, it was $750,000 in total, and we're just dividing it between our two groups. Okay, moving down the sheet, we have rent was $75 per square foot. Stock has 5,000 square feet, so they get $375,000 of our rent costs. And custom also has 5,000 square feet of space, so they will also get $375,000 of rent cost. And finally, we have our general administrative. The rate was 7 cents per sales dollar. And stock had 4 million in sales. We can see that up here. They will get 280,000 of our general administrative costs. And custom had 3 million in sales. I see that from our sales information. And they get 210,000 of our general administrative costs. So you can check the calculator with the calculators at home, but tallying it up, stock has an income of 1,345,000, and custom has an income of 65,000. So the problem asks us, why do we like ABC more than the regular costing? Thank you. And the regular costing, stock had an income of 1.5. I give that to you. And the custom had negative 100,000. So obviously, by using activity-based costing, we have divided our overhead costs a little bit better. We've estimated things better. So now we know that custom really isn't losing money. It was just that we were giving them more overhead than maybe they were actually using up. So that's why we like activity-based costing. Thanks, and good luck with the rest of them.